If I asked you to picture the most dangerous animal in the Amazon rainforest, your brain probably goes straight to a snake. Maybe an anaconda the size of a telephone pole, or a poison dart frog, or a school of piranhas stripping something to the bone in 30 seconds flat. And look, those are all genuinely terrifying in their own way, but none of them are the apex. So what really is the deadliest predator to stalk the Amazon rainforest? Now, when most people think of a giant terrifying cat, they immediately jump to a tiger or a lion. Tigers are the largest cats on Earth, built like striped tanks with jaws that can crush bone. Lions rule the savannah in prides, projecting raw, undeniable power. But they're on a completely different continent. What we're actually talking about is this: the jaguar, Panthera onca. And when I say jaguar, I don't mean the car. I don't mean the football team. I mean an animal that completely breaks your expectations of what a big cat is even supposed to be. Here's the thing most people get wrong about jaguars. They assume it's basically just a leopard with better branding. A spotted cat, sure, maybe a little stockier. Both live in jungles, both have spots, both are very pretty on a nature documentary. But jaguars and leopards are built on completely different philosophies. A leopard is elegant, lean and long-limbed, built for speed, built to chase prey through open savanna and drag it up into a tree before lions can steal it. It's a precision machine. A jaguar looks like someone took a leopard and then just started injecting it with trenbolone. A large male jaguar can hit 300 pounds. That's not a cat. That is a boulder that learned to walk. Its neck is so thick, it looks almost comical. Its skull is enormous. Its paws are massive, like padded sledgehammers attached to its wrists. If a leopard is a sports car, a jaguar is an armored truck. And that stocky, heavy build isn't an accident. It's not just a jaguar being lazy about cardio. That body was built with one very specific purpose in mind: the bite. Because here's where the jaguar completely separates itself from every other big cat on the planet. Lions kill by suffocation. They chase prey down on open grass, clamp their jaws around the throat, and hold on until the animal passes out from lack of oxygen. It works, but it takes time. A struggling wildebeest can drag a lion around for several minutes before finally going still. Leopards go for the throat. Cheetahs go for the throat. Tigers go for the throat. Every other big cat on Earth kills via the throat. It's the default big cat strategy. Bite the neck, wait for the lights to go out. But the jaguar does something different. Something that, when you actually think about it, is kind of insane. The jaguar bites directly through the skull. Not the throat, the skull itself. It drives its canine teeth straight through the bone of the head and directly into the brain. One bite, instant death. The prey doesn't struggle, it just dies. This is called a cranial kill bite, and the jaguar is the only big cat that uses it as its primary hunting strategy. And to pull this off, it needed to evolve a jaw unlike anything else in the cat family. Pound for pound, the jaguar has the strongest bite of any big cat alive today. Not the lion, not the tiger, the jaguar. Its bite force relative to body size is nearly double that of a lion. When researchers measure the forces generated by its jaw muscles, the numbers look more like a crocodile than a cat. And that's not a coincidence, because one of the jaguar's favorite meals is crocodiles. Well, technically caimans, the South American relative of crocodiles. But still, this cat regularly herds animals that are covered in armored scales specifically designed to resist being bitten. A caiman's back is essentially biological plate mail, and the jaguar just bites through it, right through the armor, right into the skull underneath. Think about how terrifying that is for literally every other animal in the Amazon. Caymans are apex predators themselves. They ambush things at the water's edge, drag them under, and drown them. They're feared by everything. And then a jaguar walks up, dives in, and eats one for dinner. But this raises the obvious question: why did evolution build a cat this extreme? The Amazon rainforest is not like the African savanna. On the savanna, you have open sight lines. You can see a line coming from a quarter-mile away. You can run. You have a fighting chance. The Amazon is a completely different environment. It is dense, dark, layered, and absolutely packed with life at every level. The canopy above is so thick that barely any light reaches the forest floor. The undergrowth is tangled and endless. Visibility is almost zero. In that kind of environment, the strategy of chasing prey across open ground becomes completely useless. So the jaguar stopped chasing things. Instead, it became the perfect ambush predator. It will lie motionless in the undergrowth for hours. It wades silently into rivers. It climbs trees and drops onto prey from above. It approaches caimans at the water's edge with such patience and stillness that the caiman doesn't even notice until it's already over. And when it finally strikes, it has to work. Because in the Amazon, prey doesn't just come in one flavor. One day, the jaguar is eating a capybara, the largest rodent on Earth, which looks basically like a golden retriever-sized guinea pig. The next day, it's cracking open a giant river turtle like a vending machine. The day after that, it's wading into a river and dragging out a caiman. A predator with a limited kill method would starve in this environment. You need to be able to handle everything. And the jaguar's skull-crushing bite is a universal key. Thick turtle shell? Crack it. Armored caiman? Punched through. Tough skull of a capybara? Gone in one bite. The entire Amazon buffet opened with the same tool. Now, let's talk about what it's actually like to be prey when a jaguar decides it wants you. Because unlike lions, which hunt in packs and chase prey into exhaustion, or cheetahs, which at least give you a sporting chance with a visible sprint, a jaguar gives you almost no warning at all. Jaguars are almost completely silent hunters. They're built for ambush, and ambush requires absolute silence. They don't roar before they attack. They don't howl like wolves to coordinate a chase. They sit in the dark and wait. Their coat is the other piece of this. Those spots, technically called rosettes, aren't just pretty. They're one of the most effective natural camouflage patterns in existence. In a rainforest full of dappled, shifting light filtering through the canopy, a jaguar lying in shadow becomes nearly invisible. You're not looking for a spotted pattern. You're looking at shadows. And shadows in a jungle looks like shadows. And then the shadow moves. And by the time your brain has processed that, the skull bite has already happened. There are indigenous communities throughout the Amazon who have lived alongside jaguars for thousands of years. And in almost every single one of their cultures, the jaguar isn't just feared, it's worshipped. The Aztecs, the Maya, the countless Amazonian tribes, all of them independently arrived at the same conclusion. This animal is not prey. This animal is not competition. This animal is something else entirely. something that sits above the normal rules of the food chain. That's not mythology. That's just an accurate read of the situation. But here's what's interesting about the Jaguar's dominance. It doesn't come from being the biggest or the fastest or even the most aggressive. A Jaguar will avoid a confrontation it doesn't need to have. It's not looking for a fight. It's looking for a meal. What makes it truly apex is the combination: the patience to wait, the stealth to get close, the explosive power to close the distance in an instant, and then the bite force to end it before the prey even knows what happened. No other animal in the Amazon has all four of those things. Anacondas are patient, but slow. Harpy eagles are fast, but small. Caymans are armored and powerful, but completely inflexible. The jaguar is the only animal in that ecosystem that can do everything. So what happens when a jaguar loses its environment? Because this is where the story gets darker. The Amazon rainforest is being destroyed at a rate that is almost impossible to comprehend. Roughly a football field of Amazon forest is cleared every single minute. And as the forest goes, the jaguar goes with it. Not because jaguars can't adapt to new environments. They can. They'll wander into farmland, into the edges of towns, into cattle ranches. They're resilient. But when they do, they immediately come into direct conflict with humans. Ranchers who find a jaguar killing their cattle don't call a wildlife sanctuary. They get a gun. Jaguars that leave the forest are almost always jaguars that end up dead. And unlike Epicyon, which died because its own evolution became a trap, the jaguar is dying for a completely different reason. Its evolution is perfect. It is still the ideal predator for its environment. The environment itself is just disappearing underneath it, which might actually be the more tragic version of the story. The bone-crushing dogs were beaten by change they couldn't adapt to. The jaguar is being beaten by something it had no part in creating at all. The irony is that the Amazon rainforest needs the jaguar. Without apex predators controlling herbivore populations, ecosystems collapse. When jaguars disappear from a region, the prey animals explode in numbers, overgraze, and the entire food web starts to unravel. The jaguar isn't just the top of the food chain, it is the keystone that holds the whole structure together. Every culture that lived alongside it understood this intuitively. They didn't need population ecology studies or conservation biology. They just watched. And what they saw was an animal that didn't just live in the rainforest. It was the rainforest. The living, breathing embodiment of everything that place is. And if it goes, something essential about the place goes with it. Not just an animal, an idea. The idea that somewhere on this planet, there is still a place wild enough to produce something that perfect. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to see more like this, I'll be here. And yes, before you ask, I'm still a cat guy. I just prefer mine at a slightly more manageable size.